If Diego Pavia is not careful, Diego Pavia's draft stock is tanking before our very eyes, and we're all witnesses to it. Why do I say this? After the Heisman ceremony weekend, he let something out on his Instagram where he said "F all the voters," and then immediately followed it up with a PR move saying "I'm sorry" and I'm blah blah this, blah blah that. What I'm noticing and what I think is this would be my warning is Diego, watch out, because we know what the league is, and we've ridiculed Baker, we've ridiculed Shador, we've ridiculed other quarterbacks that are cocky and arrogant coming into the league. You are not the first, and this will not be the last. A lot of GMs who don't want this kind of quarterback, it's an easy write-off. We will just have to see. I'd be cautious if I was Pavia. Easily talk his way out of the league if he's not careful. All right, so the context behind the video, when you go, okay, what is going on? Where did this video come from? I made this video somewhat shortly after the Heisman ceremony, because that's when all the, F the voters and all that, PR came out, where he came and apologized and is like, sorry, let's, that's not going to happen again. And I made the joke, sort of, because at the time I was joking, because I thought he's going to get drafted. Will he be a round 4, round 5 guy? Yes. Do I think any team would take a reach to get him in the first 2 rounds? No, because, unless I've noticed, unless you were being talked about like how Simpson was talked about, and obviously, dude, we knew Mendoza was going number 1, but unless your draft stock is talked about that much, we know that you're not going to be one of those top guys. And so I made the thing on, he's got to watch out because he might not be drafted. Where this kind of becomes very comedic and a little satirical in the way is, I think, let's address another thing. Not all 32 teams need a quarterback in the draft. Like the Chiefs going after Nussmeier, don't get it. The Browns going after Green when they already drafted 2 quarterbacks last year, and then Watson might be. Dude, I don't get it. Plus, don't even look at the payroll, too, because I think the Browns are still paying 9 quarterbacks while we speak. Something like that. But realistically, there's probably 8 or 9 teams that could go for, okay, we might want to draft a quarterback. You could include the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Texans. If people are like, okay, we want to move on from Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So you've dwindled your number from 32 to roughly 10 teams or less. Like, the Titans don't need a quarterback, but like the Cardinals need a quarterback. That the Saints might need a quarterback, but they might, go with Shuck. Like, there are a lot of stats and stuff when you look at teams that, like, do they really need a quarterback? The roundabout approach that I'm trying to get here is, we have seen confidence in quarterbacks before. Pavia is not the first, and he's not going to be the last. We've seen this with Baker. We've seen this with Johnny Manziel. We've seen it with Shador. Those are just to name a few. And so there's parts of me where, do I feel like the NFL is blackballing him? A little bit. There's a little part of me that thinks they're blackballing him. But there's also a part of me where, you saw it last year, how Shador slid all the way to the 5th round, I believe it was. And then that's also after they drafted Gabriel, too, which shows who the coach wants to get versus who the GM wants to get. And fast forward to now, we saw that clear as day, too, with the Rams ownership wanting to go get Simpson, but McVay not. Like, it's funny in its own ways. Regardless if you're the number 1 pick in Mendoza or you're the last Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy type, I think something that is not mentioned as much, and it kind of gets glanced over and people don't look at it as much, is the attitude of the player coming into the building. And what I mean by that is, if this player is going to be a distraction where, let's be real here, like, let's say he signs with the 49ers and stuff. You got Sam Darnold that sat behind Brock Purdy. You got Mac Jones, who also sat behind Brock Purdy. Would Pavia be the type of guy that goes, okay, Brock Purdy's down with a hand injury or something, he tweaked an ankle? Is he going to be the kind of guy that steps in and covers like what Mac Jones did for 5-ish weeks, 4 or 5 weeks that he was in Purdy's absence? Or is he going to be the dude that after he covers for that time, he's like, well, I should be the starter. Why am I not getting the big paychecks? You see what I mean? I think it would be very beneficial for all young quarterbacks to learn under like the experienced vet, the Flaccos, the Staffords, the Rodgers of the league. We'll see. We'll see. It's a unique situation. I think, truthfully, I think he should have gotten drafted. Him going undrafted, I mean, it's going to be funny if he goes and signs with, like, let's say he signs with, I don't know, the Panthers. And speaking of unwritten rules, like for example with Mahomes and the Chiefs, like whether it's Nussmeier, Fields, who get the starting role for the first 2-ish weeks, 3-ish weeks until Mahomes comes back and is healthy, like they know no matter how many millions of dollars that they got paid, they know whose team it is. You see what I mean? And I think like you look at the Cleveland situation, you look at Miami, you look at Arizona too. Like there are, unless you are the Buffalo Bills, the Chiefs, or the Ravens, where it's like, no, your starter is Josh Allen or Mahomes or Jackson. Like you can argue and go, okay, there might be a little bit of a QB competition going on here, because as much as the Saints love Tyler Shuck, I'm not going to guarantee that he's going to be the next starter in 2 years, 3 years, because who knows, dude? What if the Saints catch like a 4-game losing streak halfway through the season and they're like, you know what, maybe we should tank for Arch Manning. You don't know. Sure to let me know your thoughts into the video. Was Pavia's antics and attitude part of his draft slide? Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.